Getting to know back with you on SportsCenter. Let's talk a little college football. I mean, 2022 was disappointing by Alabama standards. I didn't think it was funny at all. The Tide missed the national title game for the third time in the CFP era. Keep in mind, Bama won the title in 2015 and 2020 after missing the title game the previous year. Despite losing 10 players to the draft, including 3 within the first 12 picks, expectations in T-Town remain sky high. Caesars has the Tide with the second shortest odds to win the national title. If the question is who takes over for Bryce Young at quarterback, nobody knows the answer to that. Jalen Milroe won his only start last season, but Tyler Buchner transferred from Notre Dame and brought his OC Tommy Rees with him. Here's Nick Saban.
I don't think anybody has actually separated themselves yet to this point, and I don't think it's something that we're trying to rush. I used the analogy earlier. You know, Grandma Saban used to bake the best cakes in the world, and I used to stand by the oven when I was a kid and say, when's this cake going to be done? When's this cake going to be done? And she said, if I don't let it go through and take it out of the oven too soon, it's going to turn to mush, so it won't be a really good cake. So I think we got to let this sort of develop and make sure we let the cake bake until somebody separates themselves. There's not a decision that needs to be made at this point in time, nor are we ready to make that decision at this time until somebody separates themselves. But expectations, we want somebody to play winning football at that position.
So long as it's not a rat poison cake, I think we can all agree. We roll on with our college football reporter, Heather Dinich. She's joining us now. This is a little bit of uncharted territory for Bama. You know that, Heather, right? I mean, what a run. They went from Hurts to Tua to Hurts to Mac to Bryce, and now their situation is uncertain as it's been since 2015. What are you hearing about Bama's competition?
Well, Nick Saban said that they're all competing well. They all have a good attitude about it. They're all improving. But at the same time, Al, I think it's equally as important what he said about the players around that quarterback coming back. He thinks his offensive line is going to be better. There's more of a desire this year to run the ball, to take some of that pressure off of whoever he names the quarterback. I mean, think about it. Alabama's quarterbacks have been phenomenal passers lately. They haven't had to run the ball. Play to your strengths, but I think that could change a little bit, and they seem to be pretty confident that they can play some smash mouth football, and they want to get back to those type Derrick Henry type days.
Yeah, Buchner started, by the way, 3 games for Notre Dame last season. We mentioned him under his new Bama offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, but he did only have 7 touchdowns compared to 5 picks. We talk about it, but Bama's not only trying to replace Bryce Young, also Will Anderson Jr., the number 3 overall pick, as they look to get back to the playoff. How are players managing these high expectations without some of their biggest leaders from last season?
Well, they are developing new leaders, and I think one thing that Nick Saban said today that was really important was that they're always going to be a young team because they have guys constantly going to the NFL. So developing those younger players is important. And last year, one of the anecdotes that he told us today was that before they played Tennessee, he said they were coming out of the locker room, and the players usually like to sing a little song, and he said it was quiet. He turned around and said, what's wrong with you guys? And basically his message to us today was that last year, those expectations with Bryce Young and Will Anderson Jr. led to some anxiety in that locker room because of those expectations. And that eventually led to disappointment. This year, things are a little bit different. These guys have a chip on their shoulder, and they've got something to prove, and they're ready to do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's an expectation that they set themselves. It's almost championship or bust when it comes to Alabama. By the way, they opened the season with 3 straight games versus non-conference opponents, including Texas. Heather Dinich with the latest there from SEC Media Days.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.